Hi, good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? All well? Okay. Can the online students see me, hear me? All right. So, we're going to today discuss the maths optional paper, okay? Um, has anyone forced you to be here? Have we got people from outside and said, take try maths as an option? Are you trying? So basically, when I say try maths as an option, even the person who has some flair for the subject, some love for the subject, I would say, is the person who's sitting here. Am I right in assuming that you all like maths? Anybody who hates maths is here? Because in school and colleges, we are generally encouraged, students generally are encouraged to take up maths because they say it's very useful, aage jaake kaam aayega. So basically, they say that if you take it in a combination with economics, or you take it with, obviously, with physics, chemistry, or any science subject, or eco, or something, it's always going to be beneficial because some amount of quant is going to be asked in one way or the other. But that's not what the maths optional syllabus is all about, okay? Maths optional syllabus is more detailed than school level maths. So I'm here to explain to you what is the structure of maths optional syllabus. I would also be focusing on who should really take up maths optional, how the classes are going to be conducted, what is expected of me and what is expected of you, okay? Because your contribution is the one that is going to finally help you clear the exam. We teach every year to so many students, but only those who can judiciously imbibe whatever is being taught in the class and correctly use the resource that's available to them is the only one who will be able to finally crack this exam with maths as an optional, okay? So, all right. Am I audible now? Like, is it better? Online students, if you could just let us know. Is it better now? Okay, great. All right. So what I'll do is I'll begin the webinar with explanation of what the syllabus constitutes. What is my take of the syllabus? I'm not going to read out the syllabus from anywhere. That you can all go online and check from UPSC website. I'll just tell you the broad categories and how the subject flows from one topic to another. After that, I'll also take up the answer to the question, who should opt for maths and is maths okay for you, okay? So my perspective of what maths can do for you in this UPSC preparation, and after that I'll have any questions that you might have, okay? So online people also just wait for me to finish my chunk, and then when I'm able to do that, then I'll take up questions online as well as offline. Is that clear? All right, so let's just start with, so as you all know, any optional subject that you have, you will have to give 2 papers, right? So there is paper 1, 250 marks, and there is paper 2, also 250 marks, okay? Each paper has 2 sections. So there is section A, there is section B. Section A here also, there is section B. By the way, both the papers will happen on a single day in 2 shifts. This is a morning shift, and this is the afternoon shift. So ultimately, the entire syllabus has to be attempted on one single day, okay? So what is the syllabus? Syllabus is actually total 13 topics, okay? 13 topics are divided into section A and section B as follows. So paper 1, section A will have, you can look at the detailed syllabus from UPSC website or Vajiram's website, or just go online and check, okay? This is linear algebra. Now, linear algebra is basically the name that's given in the syllabus also. But let me tell you, and I'm not reading out the entire topics, subtopics of here, but this is actually 2 topics. This is matrices and vector spaces, okay? Everyone is aware of what is a matrix? That level of maths everyone has to know. Does anyone know what a vector space is? Please raise your hands if you've done vector spaces in college. Okay, I can see some hands going up. All right. So some people would have done vector spaces, others have not done vector spaces. That's fine. Matrices everyone has done? All right. So you understand what the composition is going to be. It's going to be divided. So there is matrices, type of matrices, etc., which gets done in like literally half an hour. Like, so when I write down what are the kind of matrices, it is like class 12th NCERT, literally, nothing more than that in the beginning. But how is it connected to vector spaces and why are they clubbed together? That is why you need someone to guide you, that it's not just matrices, okay? It is matrices keeping vector spaces in mind. So when we come to the explanations of it and everything, then of course I'll go in detail. Now, you're expecting me to write down, I told you we'll write down, there are just 3 topics here, okay? Now you're expecting that I will write down the second topic, third topic, but I won't. I will tell you that paper 2, section A, the first topic is called modern algebra. Why am I going from here to here? Because these 2 topics are connected. Can you see algebra here? Right? So algebra as a topic is covered through 2 modules and it has 3 major portions. Linear algebra, that is vector spaces, gets covered here, and this one constitutes of groups and rings. So there's something called group theory, there's something called ring theory, and there's something called vector space. And you know, the starting is, first one has to understand what is a group. Now when I say first one has to understand, if I was teaching an honors curriculum, then first we introduce the students to group theory. Then we build ring theory over it. Then we go to vector space. And then field theory, Galois theory, etc., which are not in our syllabus, thankfully so, okay? So we only have groups, rings, and vector space, and only is not a very suitable word here because these topics take time. Actually, these are so there are 2-3 pillars on which the entire syllabus is based, actually just 2. Algebra and analysis, okay? So algebra comes as 3 topics, groups, rings, and vector spaces. Groups, rings gets covered here, vector spaces is covered here. Like I was saying, if I was teaching in an honors curriculum, then I would have to, the syllabus would be like that. The second year student would study group theory. Third year, I'm just telling you what my curriculum was. Now curriculum has changed 10 million times ever since. But when I was in my second year, I studied group theory. Then when I came to my third year, then we studied rings as a separate paper, vector spaces as a separate paper. But when I do it for a comparative exam like UPSC, in fact, specifically UPSC, because you all know that we are not here to, are you here to get a PhD in maths, everyone? Anyone? Not even masters. I mean, even though that is one of the options, once you do the syllabus, you can, sit for some master's exams if you feel like, but that's not my objective. My objective is UPSC. Apart from optional, you have to touch almost everything under the sun. So we don't have to really rely on how the syllabus should be constituted for a university or a college. We have to work according to how we can judiciously understand everything and do well in the exam. That's our objective. So I will start with linear algebra. When I say linear algebra, I'm talking about vector space. Matrices, of course, we do first, but when we come to vector space, I will be taking 2 classes or 1 class, which is a review class. Review is technically not a correct word here, but I will be introducing groups, rings, only to understand what a vector space basically looks like, okay? So it's like getting a flavor of what group theory and ring theory is, only the flavor, so that we can understand vector space. This is easier and comes for more marks in the exam. As you can see, this is 1 topic, whereas this is 2 topics. So to do this, it takes me about a month. To do this, it takes me about 15 classes. So it's easier, more representation in the exam, faster, and hence we can immediately turn our attention to the PYQs also, because that is what we have to do. I want to make this program as comprehensive as possible. So I don't want that after this program, you're thinking, okay, now what is the next step? Of course, there are next steps. It's not like everything is done, but this has to be very comprehensive. So once I'm done with this, you're open to do the PYQs also from here almost immediately, okay? Now, let's understand what is the other topic here. So it's very interesting. This one now has calculus. Okay. Now, this topic here is real analysis. And in my booklet, when I give notes, real analysis and calculus is clubbed together. Because calculus is, do you know what calculus constitutes of? Like, give me one topic which is calculus according to you, according to college subjects. Integral calculus, differential calculus. The doing of it, the calculation part of it comes under calculus. Evaluate the limit, integrate, etc., etc. The theory of integration, Riemann integration, what is improper integral, all that comes in real analysis. So we do these 2 together. Do you understand? So it's not section-wise that the syllabus and the course has to get over. We have to pick and choose the topics that are related to each other, even though they are spread across the entire syllabus, okay? And that is my jurisdiction, depending on, of course, what my class constitutes of. But we do linear and modern together, then we do calculus and real analysis also together. Is that clear to everyone? Now, the third topic here is analytical geometry. So we have studied 2D, everyone has studied, parabola, circle, etc., etc. This starts with 3D actually, okay? So this has sphere, cone, cylinder. Detailed syllabus you can all check no online. Nobody wants me to, so you can, so cone, cylinder, ellipsoid, paraboloid, how to reduce a second order equation into first. So this is basically the third topic here. The third topic here, and there are 4 topics here actually. The third topic here is going to be complex analysis. Now, you know what real and complex stand for here? What is the, so real analysis means, what are we talking about according to you? Which numbers? Real numbers, right? Do we know what real numbers are? Isn't every number real number? No, there are real numbers and there are, what is opposite of real? Yeah, but in general in English, when you say this is real and this is imaginary. You know, complex numbers are also called imaginary numbers. And that's why maths people are made fun of by the people who don't like maths, because they say, oh, you're doing imaginary things. Okay, complex number is an imaginary number. Why do you think we study imaginary things? Is there a dearth of studying real things? There are a lot of real things to be studied. Why do we study imaginary things? Yeah, how do you, so this is food for thought. Go back home and think why complex numbers are studied. Not because it was a paper in your semester or it's a question in your UPSC, or why do you think imaginary numbers have to be studied at all? Okay, think about it. Remind me, if you do remind me, then I'll take it up as to why I think imaginary numbers are not really imaginary. In fact, they are real and very real. So what does that mean? I'll explain. But so complex analysis is here. And remember, I've not written complex numbers. Have I written complex numbers here? No, that's school. So 2 plus 3 iota. Is everyone familiar with? Nobody is scared? Anyone wants to leave? 2 plus 3 iota, 7 plus 8 iota. What is ma'am talking about? No? Okay, great. Because I want an audience who can appreciate maths. Even if you don't end up taking it, that's fine. But you shouldn't have a phobia for what is this iota. Don't ask me. I mean, if you are asking that question, then you shouldn't be here, right? So 2 plus 3 iota, etc., etc. But they are called complex numbers. Have I written complex numbers here? No, I've written complex. Whatever you study in real analysis, so limit, continuity, differentiability, the theory of it, we have to also study it here. The theory of integration, for example, so when I was saying calculate, the integration comes here. The theory of integration comes here. The theory of integration in complex analysis also. When you integrate over a complex plane, what does it look like? Okay, so it has residues and path integral, but line integral is also somewhere else also. So the syllabus is actually, we have to, of course, follow the UPSC syllabus, right? But when I will do it, I'll keep connecting one topic to another. So it'll all be one connected. It's like a continuum. It's almost like a degree course syllabus. Okay. So how one topic is connected to another is a very beautiful aspect and a very interesting way of remembering also what the syllabus looks like. So it is not 13 distinct topics. It is 13 topics, one flowing into the other. Okay. And to be honest, not 100%, but with 90% surety, I can say that out of the 13 topics, if you tell me to start with any one topic, I can start from there and go in a circular fashion and finish the syllabus. Like I can connect from A to B to C, or from B to C to A back again, okay? With 90% surety, because I mean, I'm a little doubtful if you start asking me right now, it'll take a little time, but you can. So it's not necessary that you have to follow. So I'm not saying you have to follow my structure. Of course, in the foundation, you will have to follow what I'm doing. But once you finish with the foundation, a lot of students come and meet me that, ma'am, can you please help us structure how we should revise now? They're giving mains next year, suppose this year they're not clearing prelims. Then they have to sit at home. The discipline of the class is gone. So they have to sit at home and revise. Then I give them a different plan. Okay. So the different plan, why is my plan also okay and a different plan also okay? Because we can start from A, go to B, go to C, or we can start from B, go to C, and then go back to A. Am I making some sense to all of you? Like, for example, someone starts from A, okay? Then from A you can go to B, B you can go to C, but C you can go back to A. But we've already done A, so our string will be A, B, and C. But you could also start from B and do, and then do. This is also fine. Okay, everything will have its advantage and disadvantage. So obviously I've picked up a plan for you, and I will discuss that plan once we start with the orientation class. Once you enroll and everything, we'll talk about why the structure is what it is. I will justify, I will take your inputs about it. Of course, you would have to trust me on how I would flow it, because inputs can be taken only once you know something, right? So for test series and all, but otherwise this is what now the fourth topic here. Okay, let me just erase this. The fourth topic here is linear programming. So linear programming, some amount of it you've done in school, like graphical method of solving a linear program, right? Literally that. It starts with that. Our syllabus begins with that. But then it has, so graphical method, as we all know, can be done only if you have 2 variables. Graph can be only drawn, otherwise I can't. But if you have 5 variables and 7 equations, it becomes difficult, no? To how can you draw it? It'll be impossible. Then we have something called simplex method. Have you done linear programming in college, anyone? Please raise your hands if you, and if it's okay if you've not done it, all right? Please raise your hands if you've done LPP, okay. Raise your hands if you've not done LPP in college. All right. That's fine, still always be people, okay? Because you belong to different colleges, different universities, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you also the prerequisites, which are very basic and common to everybody. Otherwise, every topic is begun from the scratch. Like I will not assume you know graphical. One class will go into graphical, literally that level, okay? So there is no problem in that, but this is linear programming. This has, it's a small syllabus of LPP. So it has graphical, it has simplex, it has transportation problem, duality also, an assignment problem, okay? So very short kind of, like literally, you know, 4-5 classes we can finish this topic, and we can also predict what kind of questions are going to come in the exams. Very short, okay? So some topics are like that here, that you can also look at the PYQs, you will know, there's a question on transportation problem literally every time, okay? And has to be a question on simplex, otherwise what will they ask also from here? But of course, calculations is one thing, you know, so one ends up making mistakes in quote unquote easy topics. So, you know, everyone sitting here has their own way of, one thing that I think is that nowadays people are getting too judgmental. So we end up judging the syllabus, this is easy, this is difficult, this is good, this is bad. Now, the topics which are easy also can mess up your exam, because finally in the easy topics, you can make a careless mistake, you know. And in a difficult topic, maybe, you know, you've done that particular topic or it just strikes you and you end up doing well. So there is no easy or difficult for us. You have to be kind of do every topic with the same amount of sincerity. Don't be judgmental about this is easy, so I will not do it, or I'm so good at it, I don't need to revise. There is no topic like that, okay? So every topic needs attention, but of course, depending on how the... Okay, let's come to section B. So how many topics have we covered till now? 7. More than 50% has been covered. Now let's come to section B. So the fourth topic here, this is 4, 5, 6. This is the 7 topics here. Okay, so the 3 topics here are, this one has ODE. Do we know the full form of ODE? Ordinary differential equation. What is so ordinary about it? Yeah, so ordinary means you are talking about dy by dx. So there is one independent variable, one dependent variable, the dy by dx that you talk about, okay? Of course, it can be any, so d by dx, derivative. What does derivative stand for? Sorry? Multiple division. Rate of change, yeah? D by dx, rate of change of something. Car is moving, yeah, change, right? So what is moving according to what? So for example, y is the agricultural output, okay? And x is the amount of rainfall. So there is some agricultural output that's happening, there is some amount of rainfall that is happening. We are studying the previous data of previous year and so on. And we're saying that depending on the rain, how is agricultural output affected? You agree that agricultural output will get affected due to rain? If there is less rain, what will happen to the agricultural output? Reduce. But does that mean if it is more, then the agricultural output will also go more? Why? Because when it rains, it pours, which means that if it floods, then again the agricultural output will go down. Have you understood? So dy by dx. So we don't have these applications as such in the syllabus, but until unless we know about it, we will not be able to appreciate why this is done like this. Why do we take momentum? Why do we do angular velocity like this? Why do we do? So even the applications that are there in physics can be understood only when you understand and appreciate the entire syllabus. Okay, so we will be talking about it. We will be talking about what integration stands for, etc., etc. And then when you analyze it from PYQ point of view, only that much depth we will go. But so I would like to clarify that the appreciation for the subject has to be also a very integral part of my classes. Okay, it can't just come, go, do whatever. You have to also understand what you're doing. Okay, so that also for the interview, for example, when you go preparing for once you clear mains, you have to give an interview. At that time, the window is so small, then you can't appreciate your optional. Your optional admiration for it, the love for it has to begin from now. Okay, so at every step, I'll be guiding you as to why we do this, why not this, why is this allowed, why is this not allowed. We will talk about all that in the class so that there is, it helps us also in accuracy, it helps us in remaining with the optional for a long time. It's not boring at all because it's repetitive. Every day you'll have my class, no? So, but you have to have interest enough so that you can be inspired to come back. So, and my inspiration is also the subject. So if I can not make you understand what this really stands for, then it's only half the battle won. Okay, so we will be talking about all the details. Why does this stand for it, and how can we change the symbols and so on. So can you guess? Let's see. Okay, if this is OD, and you know how I've been matching, right? Of course, not every match. Like the first two have been matched: linear algebra with modern, calculus with real. This one is OD. Can you guess what is this? Hey, you started guessing the syllabus already. How much? Half an hour into it, and you're now knowing the syllabus. So this one has to be PD, and obviously they have to be done, yeah, one after the other. What do we do first, OD or PD? PD means brilliant. तुम्हें तो आता है सब कुछ. Partial differential equation. यहाँ पे dy by dx था. What is happening here? Yeah, so there is del. Now del means what and d means what. So basically what happens is you'll have a del z by del x, and you'll also have a del z by del. So z depends on x as well as y, right? So what are x and y? Z is, say, the agricultural output now. X is the amount of rainfall, like we discussed here. But now it's not just rainfall, it is also fertilizers, right? And fertilizers, pesticides, or whatever, and what is the terrain, which is it fertile, is it not fertile, is there an industry nearby, etc., etc. So agriculture is, of course, just one example that we pick up. We can pick up any example and talk about it. So del z by del x, del z by del y, this kind of a thing you study in PD. Okay, let's come to the fifth topic here. Is I'm writing vector because, so do you know what a vector is? Yeah, which has, yeah. What is more, so with vector, what comes like vector and scalar? Yeah, so scalar and vector we first study scalars and then we study vectors. So scalar is something which has magnitude, age, height, etc. Vector is something which has magnitude as well as direction. So if I say my house is 25 kilometers from here, that's only the amount of distance, the amount 25. 25 could also be my age, for example. Yeah? Any doubt? I mean, I'm just saying, if I say 25 and I don't say kilometers, I don't say years, why are you all smiling so much? Don't explain why. Okay. So, okay, Raghav, just hold on. So magnitude, okay, 25. It could be 25 kgs, it could be 25 years, it could be whatever. When we come to vectors, it's something you said that it has something which has magnitude and also. So if I say southeast from here, 25 kilometers, we know which direction, because if I say let's all go somewhere for a picnic or something, 25 kilometers away, we will not reach anywhere because each one of us can stand at the gate and take a different direction. And then are we going to meet? No, if we take different directions, we're not going to. So we need to know which direction also. So a lot of applications will be like based on vectors, right? So that's vector numbers, vector addition, vector. So why I'm just writing vector right now, I will complete it because vector analysis also you have to do, vector calculus also you have to do, vector numbers, so of course you have to do. You have to do vectors. what are vectors, what are scalars. That to definitely is there in the syllabus. But the syllabus is also analysis and calculus based. Okay, where have these words come before in the syllabus? Can you see? So you must have done some analysis here. You know some idea of differentiation. So we have to also differentiate. You have to do integration. Yes, you have to do integration. So this topic is also linked to calculus and real analysis. Can you see this triangle being formed in the syllabus now suddenly? So one thing will help you to do the other thing. Okay, and how will they help? I'm here to guide you. But so and analysis and cal. So as you can, have you understood what I'm trying to say? So it's vectors, yes, but it is also vector analysis. It's vector calculus. So so it has line integral. Okay, now double integral is technically here also, it comes here also. Triple integral, it comes here also, it comes here also. Area wall, even in the syllabus there is repetition. Like if you see some words, no, they'll be written everywhere. Then there are these standard theorems. Have you heard of Green's theorem? Yes. Yeah, Green's, Gauss, Stokes. You don't have to know them, so you can just nod your head also and say yeah, some, yeah. I'm not going to assume that you know it, but I'm just saying that for people who would have seen the syllabus, this is where Green's, Gauss and Stokes is going to come. Again, very predictable topic. I mean, we know every year one out of Green's, Gauss and Stokes is going to come. How predictable is that? I mean, I can guarantee it right now. The mains that's going to come up, you can check the paper. There'll be definitely one question on transportation. There'll be definitely one question on simplex. There'll be definitely one question out of Green's, Gauss and Stokes. That also I know Gauss and Stokes more, but chalo, let's, to generalize, let's say Green's, Gauss and Stokes. So the paper is also, because it's a static syllabus and because it's been happening for years, we know what kind of questions will come. Okay, there is, in that sense, it's kind of contained. It is limited. It is not infinite. Even though knowledge, of course, can go on, and I can, if I want to learn also more in these topics, there is more to learn for me also. So for you also, definitely after 7 months, there'll be enough that you know and enough that you don't know. But from exam point of view, when we keep the PYQs as a basis of deciding how much has to be done in the class, etc., then it's quite simple. At least 50% of the paper, we can predict that this is definitely going to come. Okay, with almost 100% surety, of course. And all right, so this is vector analysis and calculus. Here you have numerical. What is the word that I've written here? Look at this, look at this, look at this. Yeah, there are two pillars on which the entire maths is based. What are the two pillars? Algebra, analysis. Once anyone is able to master algebra and analysis, you are sorted. Okay, everything else is a takeoff from there. Even though OD, PD directly, we can't see whether it's really like that or not, but I can vouch for it. There is a lot of analysis hidden there also. There is a little bit of algebra also written there. So do you know second derivative? Have you heard of second derivative? D by dx is the first derivative, no? dy by dx. What is the second derivative? d2y. So that is d by dx of dy by dx again, right? So that's algebra, because how things are operated, how one after the other you are doing it. So there is an underlying beauty and connection between all the topics here, like I said in the beginning. Now coming to the 6th topic here and the 7th topic here, Ado. This is also physics and this is also physics, okay? Now you can look at the entire syllabus as mechanics, dynamics, fluid dynamics, static. Syllabus is like kind of, so there are 2 topics here, 2 topics here. Now when I write physics, you came here for the maths optional webinar, right? If you're not expecting physics or if you're not great at physics, then this can come as a shocker. But please remember, number 1, it is 1 topic out of the 6 here. There's 1 topic out of 7 here. And why do you think UPSC has included physics in the maths optional paper? Because there is a separate physics optional also. Why is physics included here? Sorry? Testing applications, which means predominantly this is also maths oriented only. You have to only know, okay, gravity, this is the formula, this is the pendulum, this is the thing. You have to do that. Somebody will, I mean, of course, when it's being taught, you'll be told that this is what is happening. And after that, it is integration. After that, it is differential equation. After that, it is being applied line integral. So everything that you would have studied in maths, an application of that maths, keeping physics as the basis, okay? So in physics, for example, if someone is calculating moment of inertia, what is moment of inertia? A physics person has to know. We will also know the definition and everything, but how is it calculated? Okay? That calculation of physics person also relies on maths. And that is the part which is being judged here. Is that clear? So moment of inertia, whatever it is, this is a formula, that some amount of remembering, okay, this is how the moment of inertia is calculated and all. Then how it is calculated is based on one of the previous topics that you would have done with me already. So it's nothing to be scared of, and there is no physics here as such. Even though it is an important topic, it's not like you don't have to worry about it, but you don't have to deep dive into it so much that you have to understand the meaning of everything and all that. It's very, 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 how do I say, application oriented. Okay, so know your physics as much as you have to in order to understand what the questions are going to be in the exam. Okay, and the 80% of it, which is body of the solution, is going to comprise of only maths. There is no physics that is going to be coming there. Is that clear? Is the syllabus clear to everybody? Yeah. How many marks is each paper for? 250. So this is also a 250 mark paper. This is also a 250 mark paper. And so 500 in total, okay? What is 500 divided by 13? Just do it. Don't ask me to do it. Do 500 divided by 13 roughly. How much will it be? I'm relying on your calculations. Is it 39 point something? Others, are you doing it? Or you too tired to do calculations in a maths class? Please do 500 divided by 13 roughly and tell me. Any online students have disappeared now. They're not messaging anymore. You know, everyone was writing something or the other. How much? 38, 39, 40 approximately. Okay. Which tells you that you don't have to have a deep analysis mode on here. Every topic that is written here comes approximately for 40 to 50 marks. Slightly more, I'll tell you why. In fact, 60, sometimes 70 also. Why? Because 250 marks is what you have to attempt. 250 marks is what you have to attempt. But the question paper is made for, do you know the structure of the question paper? Okay, I'll go to that now in a separate screen. Yeah, thank you. Just keep it there. So is the syllabus okay? Can I move on to the next thing? Anyone wants to, can I change the screen? No. So like I said, it's a 250 mark paper because you have to do how many questions? 5 questions. Is there choice? Yes. How many questions are made in the question paper? 8 questions, right? So 8, sorry. Okay, 8 questions in paper 1 plus 8 questions in paper 2. Okay, and each question is a 50 marker. So how many marks total? Like if I have to make a question paper, then for how many marks do I make the question paper? Each question, one question is 50 marks, okay? Every question in the exam is going to be 50 marks. You have to attempt 5. So 50 into 5 is 250. Guys, please look like maths optional people, okay? Yeah. Act, I will do the calculations on your behalf, but please, okay? I can understand why you're not participating enough because it's new and everything. Now you are half an hour old into this. Now please settle down quickly. Can't wait for you to keep settling down. The webinar is a limited thing, but ultimately it has to be very interactive. It can't be me teaching for 2.5 hours. That's going to be so boring for you and hectic for me. And it's not efficient. You don't learn anything from just, you have to do a very interactive thing. So at least as much as you can participate right now. So each question is 50 marks. How many questions you have to attempt? So total, how much are you attempting? But the paper is 8 questions, each question 50 marks. So the paper is constituting 400 marks, okay? Is that clear? 400 plus 400. How many topics did you say? What is 800 divided by 13? Do it. How much? 60 something approximately. Let's do approximate thing. 60 approximately. What did I write on the previous page? Can you see? 40 to 50 and slightly above, like I said. So some topics here will come for 40 marks. Some topics will come for 50 marks. Average is 60. Is that clear? So that deep analysis videos that are available, you know, that, oh my God, linear algebra, this year, 17 plus 18 plus 13 plus 20, and you're totaling it. I have never done that. Because understand that trend, something is called a trend only if either it continues or it dies down. So, I mean, every year there is a small variation that will happen. 1 year, about 2 years ago, they asked OD for about 80, 85 marks. Almost every year they ask for 50 marks. Now, can you predict next year what's going to happen? And is there any point in predicting? Do we do the syllabus thinking that, oh, its contribution is 80, let's study a lot? Oh, its contribution is only 50, let's not study. Does anyone do that? I mean, please don't do that, okay? 50 marks, 50 marks in UPSC, is it a big deal or a small deal? 5 marks is also a big deal. 50 marks, nobody is going to say 50 marks, don't study. Your effort is not going to be directly, in that sense, proportional or dependent on how many marks it will come for. How many marks does it come for in general? It's always 40 to 50. So sometimes 40, sometimes 50, sometimes 60. Goes up till 70. Sometimes it has also gone up to 80. Is that clear? Good thing is physics, they don't cross generally, okay? So they ask for, together they ask for 50, 50 only. Linear algebra, sometimes they ask for 60, 65, 70 marks also. Plus there's an overlap, like I told you now, in the syllabus. There is calculus written here, calculus written here. So sometimes area volume question will come here, sometimes area volume question comes here. So what do you count it as? You don't count, okay? Don't overanalyze anything. It's just try and understand what the topics are going to be. So this is what your constitution is going to be, and 5 questions. Just in case you don't know, I will just tell you that section A and section B, any paper actually, this will have question number 1 to question number 4. This will have question number 5 to question number 8. Okay, question number 1 is compulsory. This is a structure in every optional. Question number 5 is also, this will have 5 parts. So A, B, C, D, E, all parts compulsory. Okay, but compulsory is what the examiner is asking. It's sometimes we don't know a compulsory question, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay, can you please? Okay, so question number 1 is going to be compulsory, and similarly, question number 5 is also compulsory. Okay, how many questions do you have to attempt in total? 5. So this is 2 questions that everyone ends up doing. How many questions pending? 3. Now 3 cannot be chosen all the 3 from here. You can't do question number 1, 2, 3 and 4. No, at least 1 more from each section. Have you understood? At least 1 more from each section means what? So somebody, for example, can do question number 1, question number 2, question 5, 6 and 7. So this is compulsory, this is compulsory. Your option can be, you can do 1 from section A or 2 from here, or you can do 2 from here and 1 from here, but you cannot do all the 3 from one particular section. Is this clear? Anybody has any doubt here? Online students? Clear? Anyway, we keep talking about it even in the class, and when you start analyzing the papers, which is one of the 2 things that I'll ask you to do today, you can understand how the paper is and how the syllabus, keep syllabus and keep the paper, you'll understand it better. So this is what the structure is going to be. Question number 1 and question number 5 are compulsory, and there is a mix and match in the compulsory questions. What does that mean? Going back to the syllabus, question number 1, for example, when I said has 5 parts, the first will be from linear algebra. I'm giving you an example. Will be means could be, okay? They can change it also, but usually it is linear algebra, then 1 from calculus, 2 from geometry. This is an example. Means there could be 2 from calculus, 1 from geometry. There could be 3 from linear algebra, 1 from calculus, 1 from... But all the 3 topics of section A are represented here. Is that clear? Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Which means what? Can we leave any topic? That's sorted, no? You can't leave any topic. And also question number 2 will have 3 choice. Question number 2, for example, usually the structure is question number 2 will have now 3 parts. A 15 marker, I'm just giving you an example. 15 marker, 20 marker. Okay? 2 15 marks, 1 can be from linear algebra, 1 from calculus, 1 20 marker from geometry. Or 20 marker can be from linear algebra, 15 marker can be from here, 15 marker can be from here. They can also have 4 parts. They can have 10, 10, 15 and 15 or something. Is that clear? So they can have that. There are years that they have asked, for example, let me just show you. Question number 2, A part is 15 marks. First part and second part together is 15 marks. So this is for 7 marks, this is for 8 marks. So even lesser than the compulsory question in that sense, okay? So we are not over-analyzing the trend because we are going to study the subject for the love of it, for the sake of understanding maths. No matter what permutation combination they bring it up in the end, we should not, it's not a shocker. So all my tests will also have mixed things so that you get a good idea. Plus the idea is that there is no, don't go by the trend. Okay, let's not follow it. Of course, basic structure is going to remain similar. So there is going to be a B part, there is a C part. If this is a 15 mark, they can also, sometimes they have had 17 marks also, you know. So something like that also they keep doing. And it's their right? I mean, we don't have any control over how UPSC is going to function. So usually this is 15, 15, 20, but then it can be any combination. Anyway, do you think if it's a 17 marker, you will not write as well as a 20 marker? Does anyone do that? This is 20 marks, I'll really write nicely. Oh, this is only 17, I will not write it nicely. Do we do that in the exam? So does it matter whether it's 17 mark or 20 marker? For us, if we know it, great. If we don't know it, it's the option that you have to leave or try and see what you're going to attempt and so on. Is the general syllabus clear to everybody? Structure of the exam is clear? Yes.
For this different marks of question, is the space also different?
Yes, space is also different. Now that also they keep changing, okay? So usually about 10 years ago, they used to give, I'll tell you what they give 10 years ago, I'll tell you what they give now, and I'll tell you in my test also, you will have limited only, because so what happens in the booklet, this answer script is given, the question is printed here on the top. Okay, there's a separate question paper you get, and in the answer sheet also question is printed. Then they give you space for it. So generally for 10 marks, they give you one side, one page, only the front side, not front and back. So one side of the page, the front, okay? This is 10 years ago. Now they give 2 to 3 also sometimes. But again, this trend, they can go back to this. This was the trend earlier, then it changed to this. It can very well go back to this. Also, there is fixed space, which means I read the question, I start doing it. I reach here and I realize, oh my God, I copied the question wrong. Can that happen in maths? You're saying no? I mean, I end up making a mistake, and that's not because I'm not wearing my specs. It just sometimes, you know, the x square plus 2y square suddenly becomes a 2x square plus y square. Don't ask me how. I mean, just one of those things that sometimes can happen. Okay, please, superhuman beings that are sitting here who said, no, we can't do that mistake. Okay, let time be the best judge of it. During the course of this thing only, there'll be enough humbling moments that we all get, that, oh my God, this was so simple, how could I do wrong? That will happen to me, to you. So we are very, going to be very grounded. So we reach here, we realize we've copied it wrong. Now you cut it out. There is no other option. You can't use a whitener. And in the next page, there is already question number 1B part written. Space is gone. So what do we do? So in the exam, now I am still contemplating whether this year onwards I'm changing back to this thing or not. So don't question, since you're not test series students right now, you can't question me. But I mean, I'm still contemplating, because last 3-4 years they've been giving enough space. So what happens is, if they have given 2-3 sheets for it, then even if it goes wrong, there is enough space, you just continue writing. So there is relaxation in that sense. But tomorrow they go back to one page, half the page is gone, the student is not going to have space only to write. So I encourage my students and force them to write in limited space. I tell them that if you can write in limited space, then if they give you more space, you're happy only, because there's enough space. You can always, write it a little more with more space, with more things and everything. Are you getting my point? That if you learn how to work in limited resources, if you can survive Delhi, living expenses, eating expenses, etc., in, I don't know how much, to be honest. Let's say someone says I can survive in 5,000. You learn how to survive in 5,000 is very less, no? How much do you think? 30,000? 20. 20? 18? 20. Okay, let's say 20. Okay, I'm sorry. But let's say 20,000, you've learned how to survive. Now next year, next month, your parents send you 40,000. Will you be happy or will you be sad? Will you be able to survive? Will you not be able to survive? But if you're used to 40 and then someone sends you only 20, will it be easy or difficult? So should exam be difficult, or should classes be more difficult, or shouldn't the classes empower you for any eventuality that might happen in the exam? Here I give you a lot of liberty, write it in 3 pages, write it in 30 pages. How does it make a difference to me? It's not my paper. Yeah. Yeah, so I try to do that, but a lot of students revolt. My test series student always complain about this, and I try to tell them, but they are more pro now because they've now done foundation now and they've seen mains. A lot of people would have had a real taste of writing it. So they're like, no, ma'am, there was enough space. You only don't give us space. So I'm trying to teach them how to write in limited. A lot of people listen to me, but some people don't. And then I deduct 10 marks from their total because you're not listening to me. Even though they do give. This year they gave so many sheets actually for 10 marks also. But we will try to restrict to minimum. Okay. Or we'll take 1.5 ठीक लगा लो types, you know, बीच का. But every question has to begin from a fresh page. So also 1.5 becomes difficult. Also it depends on everyone's handwriting. I don't want to judge your handwriting right now, but you know your own handwritings now. Are they good? Is it good? Right now everyone is saying yes. When I start checking, I don't know what you have written only. And sometimes I call the student, what have you written? He's like, I don't know. You don't know, I also don't know. Let's just, you know. So I will go with my assessment of how much I can understand your handwriting. So you said yes, a lot of you. I mean, I'm glad that you think you have good handwriting. Tell me, what is this? What am I writing? No, this could be N for somebody. We just become a little more pointed, you know. And what is this? Okay, what is this? I can't even, like, I don't know how to. You can make out from my handwriting because no matter how much I try, I can't write in your handwriting. And that's not a compliment. And I'm going by the past experience. I don't know you, but, you know, statistically speaking, we have the same group of people available. So sometimes there are U and V, two variables in the question. In the first page, it's written U, in the next, clearly you've written V, but in between they get interchanged somehow. So U is a function of V or V is a function of U. And then I call them, I said, what is this, U or V? I don't know. I read it from the examiner is not going to read it from the top. You have to be very careful about your handwriting, about your spacing, about how you present in steps. And that's something that I'm going to also talk about in the later half. Let me finish this. 10 marks is one page. So this is what I give, or what was given 10 years ago. This is what the UPSC gives. 15 marks or so. I give 2 pages. That's one whole page, front and back. They give up again about 3. Sometimes they've given 4 also, but they've also sometimes just given 2. Okay, so this is about average. This year specifically, there was a lot of space actually. So the revolt is on the peak, you know. Students who have heard this year there was a lot of space are really troubling me. So I hope this year they go back to the original form so that they don't revolt so much. 20 marks, usually I'll give 3 pages. They give 4. They also give 5. 3 sometimes. So they look at the question also sometimes. So someone is putting in the effort to say simplex method, 10 marks, cannot be done in 1 page, so they give you 2 pages. But not every year they've been so thoughtful. So there are years that I can vouch for that they've given a long question but only 2 pages. So first you have to read the question and assess how many pages have they given before you start also writing. So there's a lot of on-the-spot decision making that happens in the exam. Also the choice, which question should I do? 1 and 5 is compulsory. So whether I know it or not know it, at least there is no decision making happening. But should I do 2 or 3? Should I do 4? Should I do 5 or 6? 6 or 7, 5 is compulsory. So decision making is going to happen in the exam, you know, and it can go wrong also sometimes. You may come out of the exam hall saying, I should have done 4 instead of 3. But then on the spot, how you take a decision, that's also something that we work on when the classes are going on. So I do ask, okay, I'm teaching something, I will make sure you'll understand it. But when I end of the class, ask that is it something you want to attempt in the exam, or do you rather prefer you would not? Depending on what I'm teaching, sometimes students have a consensus and say, okay, we've understood it. If it comes as a compulsory question, we'll do it. But if you ask me it in a choice, I would rather leave it because there's a lot of scope of, say, calculation errors, or there's a lot of scope of things not becoming integrable only. Ultimately, you should be able to integrate the expression. No? If there is an ambiguity, I don't know what will happen, then you want to avoid it in the exam. So when I teach, we also talk about how sure this question is and how, see, we didn't know till here whether we will get something nice or not. And then maybe we have to rework. Am I making sense to all of you? Yeah. All right. So this is what generally, have I answered your question? Anybody else has any question till here? Then I can move forward. Till here about the syllabus, about the structure, about how you attempt the questions.
Are they asking like algorithms in the computer program?
They do ask algorithms. Now again, last 3-4 years they've not asked. But if it's in the syllabus, you have to do it. It's a static syllabus. We don't want to leave anything to chance. They have been asking, it is there in the PYQ, so we will end up doing the algorithms.
At the extent of digital electronics.
No, nothing like that. Very simple. So, okay, let me tell you what I want you to do now. If you decide to take maths optional, even if you don't decide to take maths optional, what do you base it on? You can't base it on just me saying something. If you ask me, sometimes students come up to me and say, Ma'am, I have a doubt like whether I should choose which optional. I'm like, okay, can I help you? They'll say, okay, I have a doubt between maths and XYZ. I don't know. I don't want to name the subject. Now you tell me, if you come to me, you know what I'm going to say? Actually not, because I'll ask, do you have an interest for it? They'll say, no, somebody told me it's very scoring, I don't have interest in it. Then I'll say, please leave, don't come. I like maths, but I've not studied maths in college. Okay. Then also I would tell you, don't take it. So there are some checks and balances that I also have. I will not always say maths. But if you say, yes, I like maths also, I'm good at maths also, and I have an option between maths and something, I'm not aware of the other optional, no? I just know about my optional, right? I just know about the subject I have been doing for years and years. I can only tell you about it. The decision has to be in your hands. This is why this exercise is happening, so that you take an informed decision. But informed decision, how? What would you do? Just by attending the webinar, one doesn't know. So please do two things, okay? You download the syllabus and some PYQs and go through them for a day or two. Read the syllabus, underline the topics that you think you have covered in college, underline the topics you think you've never heard. What is this? I don't even know what it is. Look at the PYQs, look at how it is being reflected. How scared are you by looking at a question? Is it completely creating a barrier in your mind? Or is it something which is inspiring you to, okay, let's learn this because I think it is looking like a doable question, okay? So PYQs and syllabus, you have to analyze both of them at your level. I've helped you analyze it to some extent, but you have to do the remaining. Is that clear to all of you? Okay. So any other question? So I have answered your question. So look at the syllabus. Algorithms and all, they're written. So if they're written, they are part of the syllabus. We have to do them. Then you look at the PYQs, you say, oh, but last 10 years they've not asked. But have they asked it before? Because the trend can come back. So we will do it. Of course, sometimes one question in physics, 1 or 2 questions are there, which have been asked only once in 20 years. And it takes 4 or 5 classes, and even then it doesn't get done fully or nicely or something. Then we can take a risk. We can say that not every question is compulsory any which ways. So there is some amount of freedom that is also available to us. We can assess whether we have to do everything or not. But you will not assess that. I will assess on your behalf. Okay? I will be candid and I will be telling you that this is how much we'll do in this topic. This is how much we'll do here. For some things, you will only rely on what can come in the exam, because otherwise it becomes too deep also. For example, ring theory, in the syllabus it's mentioned UFD, PID, etc. Unique factorization domain, principal ideal domain. Now it's not written what you have to do in a PID. So there are several theorems also. But I know some theorems in UFD and PID are about 6 pages long. They take about 7-8 hours to understand. I can teach it to you, I don't mind. But to write it also, it will take half an hour. Tell me, and it's never come in the exam, not even once in the last several years. Never ever has it come. Do we think we have to do those theorems? Yeah. So like that, I have taken the decision, and I every year the assessment also keeps changing. You see, please understand, it is not recorded classes that you're going to be enrolling for. It is going to be live classes, which I also hope will be attended live by you and not relying on, we'll watch the video later. Because if you watch the video later, okay, watch it. But if you're live here, see, look at how clearly you're looking at me. I mean, I hope this continues, because you're looking at me, relying on me to explain. So if that happens and the syllabus moves faster, I don't have to keep repeating. And I know if there is any other thing that I want to do, or if someone has read a PYQ, someone has a question. So everything, it's not rehearsed or robotic lectures, okay? It is all dependent on how much contribution I'm also getting from you. So someone yawning in the class, someone sleeping, someone disinterested looking out of the window. I mean, tell me, you're all looking now also. See how easily distracted we are. Somebody checking their mobile phones so 2.5 hours to 3 hours when you're here, you have to be here. physically, mentally, emotionally, in every which way. And then I'm any which ways here in all the three aspects. So then you can also expect me to kind of, are you getting my point? Like, it can't be rehearsed and robotic. Now, I don't know what my first lecture is going to look like right now. I don't know. I don't know what the webinar was going to look like. I mean, it's going to depend on who the audience is, because I know my subject, but I don't know who's, okay, Divyanshu, I'll just come to that and answer. So syllabus and PYQs, please download and completely assess them and everything. Okay, have I answered that question? So anything else that I want to talk about? Anything that okay, can I go back to that complex analysis thing now that I remember? I will tell you that imaginary numbers, why do we study? So the kind of things that we study. So, you know, you said, for example, I wrote down a question. I'm just giving you an example, taking a break from teaching, telling you about the syllabus to go back to teaching. 2 plus 3 iota is a real number or a complex number? Complex number. Complex number are also called imaginary numbers, and we were discussing in the beginning of the webinar that why would we study imaginary numbers, right? Okay, Aarti, I'll come to that question also. Now, why do we study imaginary numbers? This question will become redundant because 2 plus 3 iota is actually studied as 2, 3. What is this 2, 3? Okay, look at 2 plus 3 iota. Without me teaching you, tell me, do you identify the real part of this complex number? What is the real part? Correct, absolutely. What is the imaginary part? I was just going to appreciate and say imaginary part is 3. You don't say iota with it because it's like saying double. With iota, any which ways stands for the imaginary component of it. All that we've understood in school, now tell me, I'm drawing something here. And this is what I call as origin. Can you identify what this axis generally stands for? X-axis, also known as the real axis. And when I draw one axis like this, it is y-axis, also known as, even though I'm drawing, I'm calling it as imaginary. What is the difference between imagination and real? So when I say imagine a cloud here, can you imagine a cloud here? Is the cloud really here or are we imagining? So imagining is something which is not present. We are visualizing it. We are drawing y-axis and I'm calling it as imaginary axis. If it is imaginary, should we draw it? Imaginary things are supposed to be visualized, no? Imagine your favorite actress here. Now everyone is happy. Y-axis, you were not so happy. Imagine your favorite actress coming here, actor coming here. You can imagine. Is that person here? No. Right? So the difference between... So have you understood the irony here? When I say something is imaginary, I should not draw it. I draw y-axis. Ever since I was in school, I've been drawing y-axis. You have been drawing y-axis. Bar graphs or parabolas, anything that you're drawing, you know how to draw y equal to x. You know, you write x here, y here, points here, you plot it, and I mean, line of course will be straight, but any curve, you know what I'm talking about? So when I say something is imaginary number, it is just a word that has kind of, you know, got famous and it's kind of got imprinted in our way of functioning. But actually what is happening in a complex number is that you're studying this, because 2, 3 is actually going to be this number. This is the real axis, so you plot 2 on it. 3 is the y portion of it because it's the imaginary axis. So what you do is you cut off 3 here. This point is either 2, 3, or when we study complex analysis, we say this is the Argand plane, okay, and this is the complex number 2 plus 3 iota. Is that clear? Okay. This actually is known as, so this is the real axis, remember? This is real line. Everybody knows what a real line is, right? 0. What do I draw here? 1, 2, etc., etc. This. So this is one real axis which is going in infinite direction. There is this minus infinity here, there is infinity here. All right? Y-axis is going on the top and also going below. There's minus infinity here, there is infinity here. Right? So this is r square. You know what is r square? R square is a shortcut for r cross r. It's not r being multiplied with r. It is r is one real line. And there's another real line at, what is the angle between them? Yeah, we can have spaces. It's not in our syllabus, but we can have spaces where they're not at 90 degrees. You know, they can be inclined. But we study ordinary in that sense. So there's 90-degree inclination. This is basically your r square. Now, do you remember something called distance formula in R square, in geometry? Like, how do you find the distance between x1, y1 and x2, y2? Do you know how to find the distance between them? Yeah? Can you tell me what the formula is? Yeah, it's under root of. Yeah. Now, come back to this diagram for a minute. 2, 3 is a point. This is the origin. It is 0, 0. If I say find the distance between 2, 3 and 0, 0, can you find the distance? So we'll apply the distance formula. 2 minus 0 the whole square plus 3 minus 0 the whole square with an under root. Under root can have positive as well as negative, but we are talking about distance. So the distance will always be, you don't hear anyone saying my house is minus 25 kilometers from here. If you talk about vectors, yes, my house can be minus 25 kilometers from here. But we also say 25 again, magnitude, right? So distance is always taken to be positive. Apply the distance formula. Do you agree? This will be 2 square plus 3 square. Whatever this comes out to be. Distance between 2, 3 and 0, 0. Do you know that if there is a complex number called a plus ib, then there's something called modulus of a plus ib that is evaluated? What is modulus of a plus ib? It is precisely a square plus b square. So if I were to ask you what is modulus of 2 plus 3 iota, can you tell me? So we are not studying complex at all. We are just studying real inclined with another real at 90 degrees. So complex numbers are actually, now I'm just saying a word, you don't have to understand it right now, but it's actually isomorphic to R square. Isomorphism is a topic in group theory, in ring theory and in vector space also. So what does isomorphism mean? Iso. Have you heard the word iso somewhere before? Not iso, don't say I've just heard you saying it. Iso? Isomers. Iso? Isothermal. Isotopes? Yeah? Carbon 14, carbon 12, uranium. Have you heard of these isotopes that uranium has, the nuclear, etc., etc.? Iso means what, therefore, in English? Same. Morph. Anybody knows what morph means in English? Sorry? Structure, shape. Isomorph, therefore, means same shape. So when I teach isomorphism, I don't tell you, oh, this is the book definition of isomorphism. Now we see why they have the same structure. So C and R square have the same structure. Why do they have the same structure? Again, I hope everyone has got an idea. Tell me, what does 2 plus 3 iota look like? Does it look like a complex number or an R square element? No, what is it looking like right now? Complex. What can it look like? I can write it as, and therefore this becomes an element of R square. This is an element of, so complex and R square. Every number which is a complex number can be interpreted to be looking like a number from R square. Can I go vice versa? If I ask you a number called 5, 6, do you agree 5, 6 is an R square? Can you, yes? Can you tell me the corresponding complex number here? Don't they have the same shape? Complex numbers have taken the shape of, not real, R cross R, R square. 2 tuples, this is called. If you can study 2 tuples, then you can also study 3 tuples. 2, 3, 5. That's not complex numbers. But when I teach R square, which is vector spaces, we study R square a lot, RQ, Rn in general. Because, you know, we can I mean, everybody would tell you 3 dimension is the maximum dimension we can see, right? This room is a 3D figure. We can study n degrees also. We have n dimensional in our head. So we don't have to write it, we don't have to draw it. If we can imagine it, we can apply the mathematical skill that is required to calculate it. Is that clear? So that is what the syllabus looks like. That is how interesting it is. That is how it's, so from complex analysis to this is definitely vector spaces, okay? So see what I've done. If I go back, if I can find, that is. Okay, I can't. Where is the syllabus? Okay, here it is. So I picked up Rn, which is important. I mean, it's written in the syllabus. You can check it. Rn is here and complex is here. What have we done? We have seen how they have the same shape. So if they have same shape, not equal, but what is the symbol that I was writing? Do you remember what I was writing? C and R square. Did I write equal here? No, I wrote slightly like this, or you can write just a single tilted line kind of a thing, or we write 3 equivalent things also sometimes. So when we go into the terminology and the structure it's not about what you're writing, but what is the intent behind what you're writing. Okay. So I think the syllabus is beautiful. It's structured. It's of course a little, it's the entire graduation syllabus. Okay. So anyone who's doing a maths honors ends up doing all this, plus 1 or 2 topics which were not even there in honors earlier. So the syllabus is nice. It's quite well structured and it's nice, but it's static. So once you master it, once you understand it, it's going to be repetitive. It requires hard work for sure. So don't expect it to fall in your lap automatically. You'll have to put in the effort. But like I said, it's a static syllabus. So once you put in the amount of hours that is required and the correct direction, it's not just number of hours. Somebody sits for 10 hours and keeps doing repeated questions and without understanding how a question can be twisted and asked, then there is no purpose. Okay? But if you say that, no, I've understood all types, but I can't practice, that's also not going to help. So you need a lot of practice. You do need a lot of work from your end. And I would like to now show you that how notes will be given to you. These are the handwritten booklets that you will get. These are all my handwritten booklets. Okay, I'll just take up online doubts also, but these are handwritten. I don't know how to show them to you. There. Can you see? Yeah, or whatever, like you can see it once you get it. This is the thickest that I'm carrying, okay? So don't get it. So, I mean, this is thinner than a lot of maths books though. And I would expect you to only know my booklets, which are about real and calculus is 1 booklet. So 11 maths, so 10 and 4. Physics, I have made separate, okay? So physics 1, physics 2 for paper 1, physics 1, physics 2 for paper 2, because they are thinner books so that you can concentrate on them better and so on. So the total 14 booklets which will be given. This one is, for example, 250 pages, but there are others which are only about 100 pages, depending on the syllabus. It's not about burdening you with more stuff. Like that way I can suggest books, and Vajiram's website will also have books that are given by me, and off and on also I'll keep suggesting. So if someone wants to, then you're definitely welcome to read more about it from books and everything. And but these booklets are going to be given to you. Booklets will have the theory, they'll have the questions, problem sets, they'll also have an assignment. You'll have to go back home and do the assignment. There'll be time given to you. Okay. Sometimes when I'm teaching a topic, it gets reflected in the PYQs almost immediately. That day you can go back home, do 10 questions or something. But there are other topics which will take me 2, 3, 4 days to build up so that you can reach till the assignment. But you have to do all the assignment questions here. So the way I expect you to function is do my booklets like the back of your hand. Anything and everything written in my handwriting will be done in the class, and you will have to do it nicely and properly at home also, together with the PYQs. Apart from this, you would not require any books as such, but in between for 1 or 2 topics, I'll keep suggesting. So for example, for differential equations, because practice makes it better, you know, like because differential equations, one particular method, I can do 5 questions, but PYQs also will not always reflect all the kind of integrations and so on. So for that, I can suggest books. When we come to it, I don't have to buy any book right now. Don't have a book list ready and go around buying anything. Only when there is a need, only when you have the bandwidth. Some people are doing GS also. Are you doing GS also simultaneously? So you have all the time in the world, right? 10-12 घंटे तो free होते होगे दिन में आजकल. हाँ भी बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे बच्चे. How? Please meet me after the class and tell me, because I too with optional only am so busy. I don't know how you do it. So you are busy. Do you agree, or do you want to? Yeah. Anyone who thinks I'm totally free, I don't have anything to do. You're all busy, right? So how much time will you be able to give also is one question, but there is one condition, and you better be ready. This is true for every optional. I don't know if other optional teachers would agree with me or not, but I do feel that optional should not be called optional. It should be called a specialization, because you're specializing in something. Optional is only because optional list is given, you know. And this also started as a joke with one of my friends who's not in India. I was talking to her on phone a few years ago, and she was asking me, what do I do? And I said, okay, I teach optional. So she said very innocently, if it is optional, why do you teach it? Because she thought it was an optional thing for students, like they may or may not do it. So she said, why don't you do something that's more compulsory or something? I said, okay, whatever, like please understand. She's not been in India for a very long time. She doesn't know UPSC. And so I was like, okay, so that day I had to start changing my, so now when I meet a new person, especially if that person is not from the UPSC community, I say that I specialize in maths, or I teach the maths specialization. Because optional sounds a wrong this thing, but you all know that you're going to specialize in the subject that you're choosing as your optional, right? To specialize in something, you would require effort, no matter what the option is. That is my thinking. It may not be something that everyone agrees with. So if it's a 2.5 hour class, let's say 2.5 to 3, let's be very realistic. Sometimes I extend my class till 10:30. Okay, doubts and no whatever, 2.5 to 3, same amount of time I would expect you to put at home. This is ideal. Minimum 2 hours you have to, I mean, without putting in 2 hours at home, in this 2 hours, 1 hour should go in revising what has happened in the morning. 1 hour should go in extra questions, assignments, PYQs, etc., etc. This is the bare minimum, right? The maximum also is just 2.5 to 3, because this is the complete reflection of how much is being covered in the class. So that's something that you have to be ready with, okay? You cannot say that ma'am will do everything. I don't get time to do anything because I have my GS also, this also, that also. And my maths is not fully prepared, ma'am, I'm not feeling confident. Confidence, if confidence was a thing that I could buy from the market and give it to you, believe me, as part and parcel of the program, I would gift it to you. Can I gift you confidence? Is there somewhere that it's available? You have to inculcate it on your own. How will it happen? Only when you've done it enough, right? And how much is enough for everyone, it's different. It's like how hungry you are. Suppose two friends are going out and they're saying they're both very hungry. I hope you're not thinking about food right now. Anyone who's famished, just wait. When the class gets over, you can go and eat to your pleasure. But suppose 2-3 friends are going out and all of them are saying they're very hungry. You order something. Do you think hungry is equal for everybody? I can be very hungry and be happy with 1 chapati. Someone can be very hungry and not be happy with 7 also. Okay, 7 is a little too much, maybe 5, 6. Do you think everyone's hunger has to be satisfied with 2 rotis? Exactly. So do you think everyone's confidence will happen once you do foundation? Confidence is a guarantee. How can I guarantee? Some people with foundation, they're very confident and they make it, okay, without doing anything after it. But some people would require foundation. They would require a year of preparation after that also, because if they're not clearing prelims and they don't want to give up their UPSC dream, then they're sitting at home and doing it. Then again, 2-3 times they have to revise. So a total number of times maths has to be revised before you are actually sitting for mains, any optional. Minimum 2-3 times you have to revise it fully. And that excludes the foundation course that you're joining. Because if the teacher is teaching you, then I have prepared it nicely, fully, I'm going to come and present it to you. But it's new for you now. How many years do you think I've been teaching? Don't start guessing, because my age is just 25, right? Okay, well, we'll come to that later. Okay, stop guessing. See how happy you are guessing my age and everything. And that does remind me that I don't think I even introduced myself in the beginning. I hope you know who I am. After about an hour, it struck me that I think they don't know who I am. So my name is, of course, Bhavna Khurana. And if you read the display or something, you would know. I'm Bhavna and I teach maths optional here. I have been teaching for a very long time. Let's not get into the number of years, because then you'll start calculating my age and somebody is already doing it. Stop. But I can tell you that only after that many number of years can you stand here and teach. No, my first job, I was probably younger than you. I mean, I was .22 when I started working. I carried a note and a sheet and a rough sheet and a review sheet and 100 other sheets. Now also I'm carrying. It's not like I don't carry. I have to always carry my stuff. But confidence is not something that comes immediately. It depends on the number of years that you're putting it in that. And any optional, to specialize it properly and nicely, you would require a class that you're attending with 2-3 revisions, minimum. Even then, the best of the students will always have something or the other which is not 100% complete. And there is nothing called a perfect preparation. There is always nearing towards perfection. Okay, there is, because the clarity, like I said, the topics are written as UFD, PID, etc. You don't know how much has to be done in that. How much do you do? It's never ending. Even I can learn so much more in this syllabus. If you were to teach in a different university or different curriculum, maybe a different book, it will be all new for me also. Okay, so you have to understand that every optional would require effort. Maths definitely requires effort, something that I can vouch for, you would require 7 months of my program with you, which is, like I said, 2.5 to 3 hour classes together with 2.5 hours at home. This will require you to do my booklets completely together with PYQs as much as possible. Go back as many years as you can. So if you're doing GS, then I say, okay, do 5 years PYQs. If you're not doing GS, then you can go up to 25 years PYQs also. You can also do forest service exam papers because the syllabus is same. There's no dearth of learning. It's infinite. Okay, but I will be able to guide you depending on how our course is proceeding. Okay, you can also ask me once the classes begin. Of course, you can ask me individually after the class, in between the class, whatever doubts you may have, I will be taking it. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Can I just take? So I think that's from my end. Anybody wants to ask me anything offline, students first? Theorems come in the exam. Yes, theorems will come in the exam, and problems also. In general, the ratio is, again, when I say in general, no one answer, because every year they keep changing. Okay, so about 30%, 70%. But this doesn't really give you a good picture, because let me tell you. Okay, can you recognize the? Okay, Aarti is also asking deja vu feeling, because everyone asks the same question. Theorems are coming or not? Can you recognize the root word behind theorems? Theorems comes from theory. Tell me, can you do application without knowing the theory? So my teaching is very fundamentally strong children we require. Okay, we require students who are strong in their subject. Like I want you to be so prepared in maths that world over anyone gets to know that you've studied this topic and they ask you a question. You're not blind and you're not saying, oh, I only prepared for UPSC, I don't know what you're talking about. If they ask you what is an eigenvalue, and if I have taught it to you, then whether UPSC level or name a university and that level, okay, you should be able to do it. So my teaching style, to be honest, coming back to, I didn't even introduce myself. I don't know how I missed that. But when you were asking about the number of years, I've taught in Delhi University, maths honors students, eco honors students, etc. In JMC, Jesus and Mary College, Delhi University, and St. Stephen's College. And then I did some undergrad teaching, a lot of years undergrad, and then UPSC for the last 10, 15 years. But to be honest, there is no change in the teaching style as such. The curriculum is different. Like how much depth do I go in PID is different. In my honors classes, I used to do that theorem that I was talking about, 6 pages long. I have notes of it because obviously that was important from their exam point of view. I cannot skip it just because it's long. But for you, what is important, I will do. But there cannot be any maths done without doing the theorems. Whether directly because they come as proofs or even when they come as problems. You know, use Cayley-Hamilton theorem to prove this. Now, if you don't know what is Cayley-Hamilton theorem, how will you do it? If you don't know the fine nuances of the Cayley-Hamilton theorem, you will not be able to do the problem also. And sometimes the question is find eigenvalues, but I use a theorem to show that they are linearly independent or, you know, or whatever. So theorems is going to be done in the class properly and nicely. You are not here to do the topics you can do yourself. And I will not assume that you can do anything yourself, but once I teach it to you, I know the level, right? So if I say, for example, ODE, for example, I would take 10 classes to do. Modern algebra, I would take 30 classes to do. And I don't want to change it. I don't want to come every day and write down, let us solve the following differential equations every single day. Once I teach it, the ball is in your court. Go back home, do the assignment, do the PYQs. You have any doubt, come back again. Then I can repeat it for you. But I can't do one method for a few days. Theorems, on the other hand, require a lot of effort. They cannot be done in a fast-forward manner. So they need repetition, they need reviews, they need build-up, they need... So my classes will concentrate on the basics and the foundation. Okay, that's why it's... So it's like not slow, I would say. I can assure you, you will be tired end of the class. But it's a very well-structured process without shortcuts. Okay, so if you're like, exam mein to this will not come, I think, or somebody has told you, I will decide, okay? So I have decided, I know what I'm doing. I know how many theory questions I'm covering in the class, and they're enough. You will not, I do more only because theorems is something that people struggle with. No, you can't do it yourself. Is that clear? So theorems with proofs definitely will be done in the class. Any other question, offline students? I'll take up online doubts also, just give me a minute. Any other doubt anyone has offline? Okay, can we talk about it later? Because this is right now I'm talking about the foundation course. I hope we are in sync with, I mean, this is for people who want to take maths optional and start preparing it. Or they've done it, but they're not happy with their preparation. There is a separate test series program that happens, but that's for people who have finished foundation either from here or from anywhere or on their own, but they're like, ma'am, I know the syllabus. Then test series we can talk about. There's a mains test series also, which will be for the students who are giving mains this year. That can happen only once the result is out, but there is a year-long program also that I run, July onwards. I'll talk more about it once we have decided, once we are in the class, okay? Yes, any other doubt? Yes.
Like for example, like linear algebra is finished here in the class. We are doing 3D for example. Okay, but I have some doubt like related to linear. So can I ask you like?
What do you think?
Like
You can ask me, okay? You students generally hound me, not just ask me, they have to force me. I'll be always available after the class to answer your doubts, to take it up in the class also. It's a continuous kind of a process. Sometimes, for example, we finish linear algebra today. Then I tell them next Sunday we'll have a tutorial of linear algebra. Even though I'm starting with a new topic tomorrow, keep doing linear algebra practice at home so that if you have any doubt, you can ask me next Sunday. So we keep fixed tutorials also. It's not fixed in the sense of right now, tell me, ma'am, which July date you have it. I don't know. It depends on how my classes are going. But I'll say, for example, 15th July, we're going to take up doubts from this and this. So till then, you have time, you can ask. Also after that, but to be honest, when a new topic begins, one starts concentrating on that. And so the onus is on you. Let's be very clear about it. There is only 50% that I can do. 50% of the relationship that we share. The remaining 50%, who has to do? So I will do my 100% work, but you will also have to ask. I will not be like, ask, please ask. I will come to your house and ask you a question, and then you. No. If we know how we are, right? So the onus is also on you. You ask me, I will be there. Okay, no problem. Anybody else? Yes. Okay, I can just give me 1 minute, I'll discuss. I'm sure somebody up there also is asking me, but let me answer the fixed questions first. The ambiguity, the questions which are ambiguous, I mean, your question is decent, but the answer is, I don't know. Nobody knows actually. We'll just answer that question. See, that's a good question. I do take about 2 class tests. One will happen after about 2-3 months of studies, but the assignments are also tests only. So instead of me testing you, you can also do self-testing, no? PYQs is also a test only. See, again, I can test you. I organize a test. I prepare the entire question paper and all. Only 2 people will turn up because, ma'am, we are doing GS also, this syllabus, that syllabus. So it's not always turned out to be a very great deal in a foundation batch, even though 2 class tests will happen. But to be honest, test yourself every single day. End of every chapter, there's an assignment. Do it like a test only, no? When you come for the tutorial, I will know how many questions were you able to do, how many questions did you get stuck at, what is it that you had to refer to, right? I'll also, one thing that I would like to say is that I also help you to structure your preparation by making short notes, because you can't read 14 booklets in 5-day gap, no? Finally, how much gap will you have? 5 days. You will be exhausted after doing your essay and 4 GS papers, and the language paper also will happen in between. Do you think 5 days you can revise 14 booklets? Don't say yes here. Please don't be so optimistic also, okay? I mean, how much can you? So you have to make notes. These are my handwritten notes. So I know them like the back of my hand. Yeah? You have to make your own notes. How to make notes is also something which is part of what I teach, because I will tell you exactly how I've written. When you look at my notes, they also inspire you to make your own notes. Without your short notes, you can't prepare it finally. So all that will also happen in the class, okay? So there'll be enough work. There'll be enough testing. Okay, anybody else? Offline first? I'll take up online doubts. Just give me 1 second. Any other doubt? Can we take up online doubts now? Okay, can you go from the top? Yes, thank you. Okay, this is done, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, wait. The first question. Ma'am, will all the topics be taken by you only? Okay. So I will take up the 11 maths topics. The 2 physics topics my colleague will be taking. And she's also my student. And I have made the booklets. So there'll be a lot of supervision that's happening here. And she is very experienced also. But 2 topics of physics will be taken by some other faculty. 11 maths topics I will be taking. Okay. Next question is, ma'am, I'm totally interested in maths, but not honors. It's okay. See, who should take maths? If you studied maths in college, okay, whether you've done an engineering, because even engineers don't have it in every semester. If you've done a BA program or a BSc program with maths, you've done an honors program in maths, or you've done, say, physics honors, but you had enough maths papers. Okay, I've had students who've done BCom honors with some maths papers also in the class, and they've done pretty okay. So anybody who studied maths in college, only school is not enough, because remember, it's a comparative exam. You're competing with others who've had 3 years. Good morning. I know it's good evening, but too sleepy. The classes will be 3 hours, okay? So have your cup of coffee before you come. Say yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Something. Look alive. Okay. How many engineering students can take it? Honors people can take it. Anybody who studied maths in college, at least 2-3 papers of maths. Okay. Again, download the syllabus, PYQs. Look at the familiarity. Look at how scared you are. Look at how inspired you feel. I will be teaching everything from the scratch, not take anything. I won't say, you must have done this in college, let me not teach it. Okay? I will teach everything. Yes. That's okay. I know you don't remember anything, because school you remember. School basics you'll have to revise. So let me tell you what are the basics required if you want to take maths as optional. You have to know differentiation. School level. Anything that I ask you to revise will be school level. Integration. Not even the proofs and all, just integral formula, how to integrate. You shouldn't be like, so dx upon x square plus a square. Even if you look at a formula sheet that you have prepared yourself, I'm okay with that. Okay, but you can't be like, ma'am, you please teach what that formula was. So if you've forgotten, you please revise. You have forgotten, no? You're not here for your school coaching. School, you did coaching, no? Go back to that teacher. Do it yourself, okay? So basics, I don't want you to, but the more you know, the better it is going to for you. We require it in OD, we require it in PD, we require it in calculus, and then basic matrices, determinants. So 3x3 matrix I give you and I say, find the determinant of this. You can do it. 4x4. You should at least be inspired that, okay, whatever we did in 3x3, let's do that amount. Adjoint, inverse, Q matrix, symmetric matrix, Q symmetric, whatever, like basics, okay? Every time I'm doing something, I do take reviews. That's I would say my USP, but also because that's a necessity, no? Somebody has forgotten something, then I'm getting blank faces in the class. So that spoils my work, no? Because you're looking at me as though I'm talking about Greek and Latin. So almost all theorems, almost all classes begin with review. Review is reviewing again, looking at it again. So I'm hoping that you've looked at it before, but I'll also help you look at it. But in case you're not very familiar and you're like, oh my God, I don't remember this, then you please mark it now in a pen. Go back home and study it too. Is that clear? How the reviews will help? The reviews will help. My job satisfaction depends on how much you're able to understand. And I want to be very satisfied in my job. So I will make sure you will understand. But if it is not coming naturally, then that day you have to go back home and revise it. At least the next time it comes, I don't have to give a review of it. Is that clear to everybody? So you would require all this. Basic calculus also you can do a little bit. Like when you're doing differentiation, you're already doing dy by dx, no? So how to find maxima, minima, all that. Either you do it now, if you're joining the batch which is beginning on the 10th of June, or when the curriculum begins, there'll be a good idea, okay, ma'am is doing OD, what all is required for it. Even then I give a list that these are the things you definitely, if I start with OD, I'm starting with, my first topic will be linear algebra. So I would require matrices. So till then, at least do basics of matrices and everything from a school book. And then when I come to OD 2 days before in the class, I will announce that I'm going to start with OD from, say, Monday. So you please revise this, this, and this. Like that. Okay?
Before you start, you tell what basics are.
Yeah. Yes. Always. Okay. How many marks can you expect? Well, 300 plus. Not everyone gets it. I've seen mark sheets now from 100 to 327. 100 is combined together both the papers. Sorry?
Isn't that painful if they get 100?
Yeah. I'm just saying these are the mark sheets I've seen. I've seen somebody who wrote mains and only has got 100, sum total in both the papers. And I've seen someone who's got a 327. Unfortunately, Everybody thinks we can get 300 plus very easily. You can definitely get 300 plus, but you require working hard, attending all classes live. If you rely on videos, and that's something that I'm telling you, the more you are here, the better input-output relationship we have. That's human nature. You know, if I'm teaching, if I was doing just a recording, then I wouldn't be looking at you for validation in the sense when you're nodding. You see how you react when I look at you? Some of you do react, some of you are like, okay, do we have to also react? Yeah, see, now you're smiling. Sometimes you're frowning, sometimes you're showing some reaction. So it inspires me also to, if I was doing it for a camera, I don't look at the camera and say, have you understood? Do I do that? When I say, have you understood? And you say, not really, then even without you saying it, I end up repeating it. So all that depends on how diligent you are, how disciplined you are. Like today we had people walking in even after the timing. Don't do that. The reviews will be missed. Then the entire class you will keep questioning, what was this review? You can't ask me to do it again. Your time is important, my time is important. The class begins at 7:30. What time should you be here? Slightly earlier, maybe 2 minutes, 7:25, okay? But at least 7:30, not like 8 o'clock because my alarm didn't go off and because I stay very far. Even I stay very far. Will it be okay if I come anytime I want to? Will it be okay with you? You come here at 7:30, I walk in whenever I feel like? It's not okay with you. Okay. What about the other way around? I'm here on time and you walk in whenever you want. Is that okay with me? Say no here. And you're like, oh, you are minority. We don't. We have rights. Okay. Everyone has rights, equal rights. So if I can't walk in whatever time I want to, your time is precious. Of course, once in a blue moon, the rains and the traffic, 5 minutes, 10 minutes delay, sometimes, very rarely. And I would over apologize for it. And you would only have to say, ma'am, it's fine. But I would feel very bad to keep you waiting. But you walk in whenever you want to. Will it be okay if one day I come and say, oh God, I don't know what I'm going to teach today. I've forgotten. I did not revise. Will it be okay? Is it okay if you don't do the homework, you don't revise yesterday's lecture? So very strange relationship students and teachers have, you know. A teacher is supposed to be punctual also. Yes, you would expect that teacher to be punctual. Yes or no? Would you expect the teacher to have content, subject knowledge? Yeah, respect you, etc., etc. There's a whole list that you have. Can I expect the same from you? Can I expect you to be punctual and disciplined enough to revise the previous lecture? I'll be right here to answer your doubts. Okay, and I do end up saying that you can ask me 100 times, but that reminds me of a very scary story. I told my son once that you can ask me anything 100 times. He came 5 times and asked me the same thing. I got irritated. So I said, Abhi to I explained it to you. He said, Abhi to 95 baki hai. Because I told him 100 times you can ask me. So he's calculating in his mind, only 5 times I've asked. Don't do that. Because I've stopped saying it to small kids at least. You understand when I say that you can ask me 100 times. Don't be silly and not revise it and keep asking me because you're wasting everyone's time. Please respect your time, respect everyone else's time, including mine. Okay. So whatever you expect of me, would you expect me to take doubts? Would you expect me to take doubts? Will I be there for doubts? Now, would I expect you to have doubts? Of course, you can't. If continuously for 15, 20 days you say, ma'am, no doubts, everything clear, then I know it's all clear only. It's not clear. Because how can it be so clear? Like I have taken years and years to clarify it for myself. There have been topics I've spent months, if not years to understand, to be honest, okay? And at least weeks, if not days. And you understand it in that. So either I'm a supernatural, excellent, par excellence kind of a teacher, which I'm not, or you are supernatural, par excellence, that also you are not. Let's all be very human here. So you will have to have doubts. If you don't have doubts continuously, then I know how much you are studying. No? So we all expect the same rules are applicable to all of us here, except that you sit there and I stand here. I also sit sometimes, therefore, okay, just to equalize. You can also stand up and go for water and everything if you want to, but there'll be equal rights in that sense, okay? I do not last 2-3 years. I haven't been able to do it with the hybrid and everything. But sometimes I like you to come and present the solution also on the board. Okay, I would love if you can volunteer, because the moment I say, can someone come, everybody starts looking down. You know, you looking down does not mean I can't see you. You know that, right? So I can still point out and I can still ask, because there's a level of confidence that you require to come face your class. Sometimes that's why we'll also have uh, a closed kind of a Telegram group where you can share your solutions, but the basic code will have to be maintained in the group as to how much you can do. And it's very, so be confident about your assignments. You can solve your assignments, give it to me. And if I really like it, I'll upload it, that assignment for everyone, you know. So there's a lot of contribution from you also that has to come. Don't expect me to do everything for you. Let's make it 50-50. Okay, I'll do my work, you do your work, like that. Yes. What time winters? It's peak summers right now. You're worrying about winters. Don't worry till winters. It'll become a habit. Okay. Class timings cannot change. It'll be 7:30 to 10:30, and your GS batches can get changed. Are you doing GS from Vajiram? Then they'll change your GS batch. They can't change the maths teacher, no. I'm the only one who's teaching. I can only be available at one time, no. GS, somebody is doing at 7:30, somebody at 11, somebody at 2:30, somebody at 5. Can I be available 24/7? It's not a helpline that is starting here. I'm available for a very limited time. Your GS batches will be changed accordingly. Talk to the admin people. They will accommodate your classes and everything. But my classes will be 7:30 to 10:30, okay? Is that clear? Any other doubt? Okay, in college for problems, we can simply cite a theorem to solve a problem, but for UPSC, there's no fixed book, so we may not be sure. Okay, Kirti, that's a very specific question, but you can state the theorem you're using. So when I say use Cayley-Hamilton, you can write down what your Cayley-Hamilton says. If I say use a theorem about independence of eigenvalues, so you'll have to quote the theorem, no? So that I am going to guide you about what is going to happen. How is marks distribution? Numerical parameters are correct answers. Okay, so presentation makes all the difference. You can't just give the blunt answer. A question on find the rank of a matrix. Don't just find the rank and throw it on somebody's face. Explain what rank means. Okay, how is rank calculated? That's the first topic that I take up in the class, and believe me, it's nothing that you've seen before. Okay, because rank is a topic that can be done very in a very matter-of-fact kind of a manner. This is rank, this is what you do, this is what. But there is another way of looking at it. So when I explain it like that, the key steps that come out of it can be highlighted. I will always, always, always not just teach you, but also encourage you to present the solution in steps. So there is going to be a step 1. Let us find, I don't know which, something, characteristic polynomial. Step 2. Now let us find. So, you know, when you say let us find, or when you say we know that, or we assert, these are very common sentences in my booklet. You know, if you were to do a Google search of how many times this is written, it will be written 1,000 times. Because you're communicating through your answer sheet with the examiner. You just find it, nobody is reading. You have to make sure the examiner is interested in reading your answer. What are you doing? Because there can be 10 ways of doing it. We follow this method or which theorem. So something, you write down, I don't know what, suppose you write down A, B, C is A times B times C, then you say here. So I teach you how to write it down so that, yeah. So, you know, your main steps go here, like this on the left side, and your right sides are all the reasons. So it's like a tabular presentation of a theorem or a question or anything that we do will have a very, very step-by-step kind of a structure. Only if you know what you're doing can you do it also. So you tell the examiner also what you're doing now, because this is the way it's like an interface. This is how you interact with him or her. So answer writing is very, very important. And there is no answer writing program as a separate program here or anywhere. If there is for maths, please don't join it. After doing the subject, nobody can teach you how to present during the course. That's why the classes are hectic for me in the sense, because I have to make sure that you also know how to present it. There is no raise your hand, I've got the answer kind of a thing here. I would come across for a round and check what you're writing. Okay. So if you say, ma'am, I was going to do it, or I've forgotten my register at home, please don't be, I'm more like a school teacher, you don't be like school students, okay? Because then I'll send you back, go get it. You don't have to wait for the school bus or something. So when you're writing, I can come across and check it. No, so that's also evaluation or testing your abilities. Are you able to understand it? Are you able to connect with what I'm saying? So a lot of answer writing practice will also happen in the class, and it's extremely important. So there has to be both. Okay, without it you cannot do well in the exam. Okay. Ma'am, could you kindly answer the following questions? The order in which the topics would be covered. Okay, I'll tell you, the first one is linear algebra. The rest would follow when you join the classes. What will be the timing of the class? 7:30 to 10 officially, but we are not official people, okay? Third is the rules 10:30 types. 10:30 I will go because there's another class that has to happen at 11. So forcefully I'm evicted. Will there be weekly test? No, you can't have weekly test. 1 week I sometimes don't even finish a topic. How can you have a weekly test? Who will do the correction? You do self-evaluation of every assignment. So assignments, take it like tests only, na? Am I able to do all the questions or not? Self-evaluate it. Okay. Weekly tests, that will be, how many tests? Forget about it, right? You can't. But I will take 2 tests, okay? 2 tests, which will be 250 marks, UPSC pattern, printed sheet and everything will be given. I will be evaluating, I will be giving the feedback, we'll have a discussion, there'll be a solution set and the whole paraphernalia. So it's not just taking a test and not returning. It's not just taking a test and returning. There'll also be, why have you written this? What should be written more? There'll be solution set shared, everything. Okay? One test is not just a test now. Even in the test series program, all these things happen. But for foundation, you are here to build your foundation, okay? So you have to be very, the normalization process I'll just come to. That will be the last thing that I'll take up. But just 1 second. Yeah. I've taken, okay. Okay, this also I've taken. Upcoming test series. Okay, Om, I know you've posted a message on the Telegram group. I was just waiting for the official announcement to happen. Test series is starting on the mains test series. I'll put it on the group, don't worry. But the test series, the mains test series is beginning on the 15th of June and year-long is starting on the 1st of July. I'll update you in the group about it. Full-time working aspirant, maths should be... Akriti, full-time, I have a lot of aspirants who are full-time working. Though my heart does go out to you, how do you manage work with this? And, you know, there are commitments and there are things. But if you can take out 2.5 hours for class and 2 hours for practice, even on a weekly basis, if you can take out 10 hours for practice, say Saturday, Sunday, you're not working. If you can take out 5 hours also, that is decent enough. So the challenges, of course, are being regular. And that's true for any optional, not just maths. I'm pursuing maths honors from IGNOU. Again, Priya, can you please look at the syllabus? Look at the PYQs. If you're comfortable, just take it. Okay? I've just completed first year of my graduation, decided to, should I go currently or after college? Anubhav, I would prefer have some Anubhav of college also before you opt for it. Why do you want to, like, I mean, UPSC is tough and it's a static syllabus, I know, but you can do it in your 3rd year. The first year too, अभी अनुभव नहीं हुआ तुम्हें ज़्यादा, like I said. ले लो पहले, college थोड़ा कर लो, 1 year more, and then you come. 10th June, I'm starting, and 7-month program, 7 months later. Give or take 5 days sometimes, because in between something drags, something extra I want to do, so 5-10 days here or there, but not more than that, okay? So when I say 10th, it will be probably before that. So June to Jan, okay? First week of Jan, 10 days of June, Jan should be over. Okay, so I've taken this up. Till when? 7 months. Where is 7 months written? Okay. After the course, till when? Okay, I've done this. Wait. See, if you're doing GS and you have not decided, though you should do optional and do first, because GS is more current affairs and all related also. So you can do GS with optional, see how much time you have. 10 to 12 hours you have to give if you are a full-time UPSC aspirant. If you're able to manage your GS, if you've got a hang of it, then you can do optional side by side. If you've already taken GS and you have to take optional, then you take it only. There's no... So a lot of students do whatever, okay? So basics I've already told you. So in case you are planning to take it next year or something, then these are the topics you thoroughly do. Download the syllabus. If there's any other topic that you think you can manage, that you've done in college and all, do it. This I've taken. Can we jump to conclusion whether to take maths as optional or not? Because one drawback that I can think is it's lengthy. Okay, so one thing, of course, you know there's no overlap with GS. You know it, no? Yeah. You know your GS syllabus by now. There's no overlap. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know how debates used to happen in college, school, like you give me a topic, I can be for the motion, against the motion. So you can say it's a good thing, you can say it's a bad thing. A lot of people will say it's a bad thing because, you know, when you do optional, some things of that will get covered. How much? 5 marks, 20 marks, 30 marks? GS, any which ways, marks are coming out to be very normalized, 100 approximately out of 250. Maths can give you about 300, that's 150 marks per paper. So having an overlap helps. How much? 5 marks, 10. That also no guarantee, no? You do a particular optional which is also there in GS. Are you sure you will always know the topic that is coming in GS also? And for how many marks will that topic come? 100 marks. Is there any option which will have 100 marks contribution from your this thing? And you will be able to do it also. And also writing optionals answers as compared to writing GS. What is the full form of GS? General. Wait. What is optional? Specialization. You know, there's a general physician we go to, that's also important. But we also go to a specialized person if we need that particular thing. So going to a specialized, sometimes I meet a specialist, a doctor, and he asks me to go back to a physician because he'll be able to guide better. No, a physician, a specialist would only know about his or her, whatever organ they're specializing in. I'm talking about doctors in that sense. Yeah, we need a different ball game altogether for both of them, no? Different problems. You can't say that I've spoken to my specialist, he knows everything about my vaccination. You have to talk about a vaccination too. Am I making sense to all of you? So it doesn't have an overlap. That's a good thing only, because I hope some of you at least will resonate with me. Tell me now, honestly, we've been talking for so long. Do you like maths? You know how sometimes when we're doing a question, we don't want to stop only, and you know, when you get it, the thrill that you, I sometimes have sent my solutions to my mother, like even now. Oh, I did this. And she's like, I don't understand a word of what you've sent me. And I'm like, no, I was able to do this question and I was so happy. At least when I was in college, there's this happiness, even though, you know, have you felt that ever with any question? Yeah. Have you also heard a lot of people saying, oh my God, maths, you know, have you heard from them? And though my heart goes out to them, it's not their mistake. There are no bad students in school. They're only bad teachers, if at all. Students can't be bad or good. When they have not been taught properly, you cannot blame them. But there is this phobia that a lot of people have. We don't. And to be honest, I will break your myth as to when you think that, oh, I'm very good at it. I will tell you why not always. I'll also help you do that. But we know that there is this sense of achievement that we feel when we do a question. You know, when we get the answer, when it's matching, I don't know which probability or calculus or a difficult integration, and the volume matches till the third decimal place. Like it is 393.381. How happy does that make you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? Yeah. 10, right? We felt that once in your life, and that's why you're here. So that compensates for the amount of learning that you have to do in GS. The amount of remember this, remember that, this happened, that happened. Maths, you'll have to remember, but 10%, like the formula in that also, so much times they're repeated, they become very obvious, okay? But that does not mean that everyone is, so for example, you know, remember this formula from school, a plus b whole square? Everyone remembers? Can you all say it simultaneously? Plus? Agreed, everybody? Okay, can you help me prove this formula? Okay, so a plus b whole square. How do we prove? Yes, because anything square means that multiplied with itself. Like 4 square means 4 into 4. And yeah, so a plus b whole square means what? A plus b into a plus b. Yes? You all agree with this now? Don't go back on your words. You've all agreed now? कुछ गड़बड़ तो नहीं यहाँ पे plus minus कुछ और तो नहीं बोलना है पक्का? Okay, help me open this up now. You know how to open it up? Okay, tell me a into a square. Very good. A into b will give you? B into a will give you? B into b will give you? You know what I'm writing here? A and B are two matrices. Okay. So if I multiply one matrix with another, A with B, does it always give me the answer as B into A? So AB and BA you combine together to give me a 2AB.
If it is a real number
Wait, I did not say it was a real number or a matrix. I only asked you, do you know the formula of a plus b whole square? Did I ask you the formula of a plus b whole square? Did I say a and b are numbers? Go back, you can also watch the video. I didn't say a and b are numbers. I just said, do you know the formula of a plus b whole square? Do you agree? You all said this is the formula. What did you assume a and b are? But did I say that? See, that assumption has cost you so dearly, because if A was a matrix and B was a matrix, then A into B is not same as B into A. So AB plus BA cannot be combined to give you a 2AB. So the formula of A plus B whole square is not necessary. Even when I'm saying, forget about writing. When I say what is the formula of A plus B whole square, you'll all say A square plus B square plus 2AB. Assuming what? That A and B are? But they could be matrices. Let me write it as A plus B whole square. That doesn't change your formula. You would have still said A square plus B square plus 2AB. But assuming, what is this law when AB and BA are equal? When they are equal, it is known as? Does anyone remember when AB and BA are equal? Commutative property. We assumed commutativity while giving the formula. But did I say that things are commutative in here? For example, when I wrote them as matrices, everyone knows now A into B will not give you the same answer as B into A. So AB and BA cannot be thought of as just AB and written as 2AB. So this is a wrong formula. We've been studying it since school. But we are assuming that we were studying for real numbers. But when we do it in now, it could be for matrices. It could be for polynomials. It could be for any other structure. We cannot assume there is commutativity. Even if there are some numbers given and I say that commutativity is not there, I tell you specifically that they're not commuting, then you cannot say the formula is this. The formula will then have to be, so correct your formula. A plus B whole square is not always A square plus B square plus 2AB, but it is always A square plus B square plus AB plus BA, and then it gets combined. So, the myth of knowing the formula A plus B whole square gets crashed right now. Are you getting my point? My reason of doing this was to try and tell you, when I asked you, did you like maths? You all said yes. And there were people who didn't like maths. That's because they were not taught properly. Maybe they had more questions that the teacher wanted to answer. And that's why they always got confused with it. We took it for granted that this is how the formula is. A lot of people will not even know how to prove A plus B whole square. They would just remember the formula, but they wouldn't know. Do you remember there's another formula? What is A square minus B square? Or you would remember the... Okay. Do you know what is A plus B into A minus B? What is it? So when I say this is equal to this, the answer is coming more fluently. When I asked you what is the formula of A square minus B square, people were like, I don't know. So the formula has to be known both ways. Sometimes you'll come across this and you'll have to simplify. Sometimes the simplified version is given and you'll have to write it as product of two things and then get the answer from here. Is that clear? So little small things like why can't you divide by 0? We can't divide by 0. When I write 1 by x, I have to write y. Now, I'm going to take this up in the class. And so these are the kind of small things that we discuss on a daily basis in the classes. So do they come in the exam? Of course, directly, nobody is asking you why is it not 0, but it can be an interview question. Plus, it can play a pivotal role when you're doing points like singularity and all. Why can't? So what is x equal to 1? It's actually what is known as a point of singularity in complex analysis. So where does that come from? Why is division by 0 not possible? What does division really mean also? Are we dividing the country? Are we dividing the property? Are we dividing money? Are we dividing food? How is division happening? Okay. So there are a lot of interesting things that we discuss in the class, keeping the syllabus in mind. But there's a lot of value addition that happens to the maths you think you know. There is more that is taught, but also the maths that you know, the foundations have to be really very strong. And that's something I rely on because that's the only way you can actually do well in the exam. Okay, so not having an overlap with GS is a good thing or a bad thing, depends on perspective. It doesn't have anything in common, but it gives you a break from all that learning and everything. It inspires you to do more. It's very rewarding if you put in the effort because, like I said, we can predict the paper. So this year when the exam will happen in August, if you join the June batch, whatever we do from June, July, August, on the August, the day of the paper, you sit down and do those questions. Whatever topics we've covered, linear algebra we would have covered, ODE we would have covered. So a lot of students are able to do. In fact, almost everyone is able to do. Sometimes my foundation students are able to do better than even the test series people because they're studying it. No, it's an ongoing topic. So we are able to attempt whatever topics we've covered from June to August, you'll be able to attempt the mains paper that much. So it tells you that it's very rewarding if you study religiously and diligently, okay? Okay, Vivek. Okay, when will you get the booklets? Well, 10th June the classes are starting. Once the admission is confirmed and everything, we'll dispatch the notes. Meanwhile, it will be put up on the portal. Whatever notes you require, you will get the booklets. Online students, you will get it by post, but I'll upload it on the portal for you, so you will have access to it. Okay, there is step marking. If your final answer is wrong, it's not like you get 0. If your final answer is wrong, the examiner looks at what you have done before it. If you've made sense and if you've written steps, if everything is very... See, if you force the examiner to put some tick marks, then he can't give you a 0, no? It doesn't make sense. He has tick marked. He or she has put a tick mark. Several one of them. 3, 4 tick marks. Then can he give you a 0? But if he can't understand only what you've written in the beginning and the final answer is also not matching, is the examiner going to be bothered? Is he going to come to your house, call you and say, what have you written? Can you explain? I wanted to give you marks. No, there's no transparency. You will not get your answer sheet also back. So if I can't understand what you've written, if it's all one long story, and I can't understand what you've written, then how many marks will I give you? Wrong answer also, not even written properly. Can you get some marks there? But if you've written everything properly, nicely, I can see 3 pages solution, 1 full page I've put a tick mark, 2nd full page I've put a tick mark, 3rd page final answer is wrong. You tell me, will that person get a 0? I've put several tick marks on the sheet because every step is clear, every step is correct. Eigenvalues are correct, but eigenvectors are wrong. So you'll get marks till eigenvalues. If I can make out that till this step the student has found the eigenvalues. If you've just written one whole story here, there, paragraph, something, then I can't. Are you getting it? Whose responsibility is it to get marks? Examiner is going to distribute marks, or do you have to earn the marks? I was going to say snatch because of the competition. But you have to at least earn your marks now. Nobody is distributing here. Everyone has to earn their place. Okay. What can we do to that? I've already answered. No, you can't buy only booklets. I mean, at least not from me or Vajiram, and only booklets will not help. They are my notes. I will be able to best guide you how to study them. What does it mean by... Sometimes I've written, these are not final books, they are booklets only. So sometimes I've written TS. What does TS mean? To show. Sometimes I've written, because this is a lingo that we have, something. So that I can only... These are only the small things that I'm picking up. But even math-wise, I know what I've written. So booklets is part and parcel of the course. It is not for separate. Do you have Telegram? Yeah, we do open a Telegram group once the students settle down and everything with some rules and regulations. Every year there'll be a different batch. Nobody wants more interruptions from each other. So, and no good morning messages, no stalking each other, no passing comments, because then I only throw you out, not only of the group, but also of the class. So be respectful, okay? The anonymity that online media gives us is to be not taken for granted in the group. So it has to be very nice. I mean, okay. Any other question? Have I taken up all questions? Offline students, do you have any questions? Yes.
So is it like they are topic-wise to test or like...
So for example, the first test is usually somewhere in September. So whatever topics you've done till there, there's a test for that. Then one test is say in December. That's full, including, so there'll be 2 papers. So they can be paper 1, about 80-90% of it would have been done by then. And paper 2, whatever has been done. Sometimes we can also take physics separate tests, okay? So like I said, there is no... So it's not like I'm saying 2, but if you're really good and everyone is really doing very well and all, the number of tests can go up also, because physics you can have a separate test. If you really perform well, there's enough time. See, the teaching itself is also test oriented. Like when you go back home, there'll be an assignment which you have to do in the form of a test. So if you're able to keep up with that, don't worry about the number of tests. Yeah. Any other doubt anyone has, offline people? Online, anyone has any doubt? Can we see the students once? Because if they... Can you share the fee structure? When you go online and check, please. Check online. So if you don't have any doubts, I would take your leave. Offline students, you want to ask me anything? So the classes are beginning from the 10th of June. Please take an informed decision. Any optional is not defined by the easiest of its topics and the most difficult one of it. It's always the middle. So there'll always be, in spite of having, normalization, sorry, I forgot. I just take that up. I'll just take it up. It's a very small answer and a very true answer that I'll give you. What can we do on our own? I've already answered no. Differentiation, integration. Actually, if you can do everything, that will be great. But you can't. No, just do the basic, okay? Can I just take 2 minutes to, yes, there will be recording of the video shared, which is available for about 2 days, I think. But I would advise offline students to be here, okay? That whole traveling, that whole getting up on time, coming here, winter, rain, whatever, will make you the person you are supposed to be to do this exam, to be honest, okay? I may sound a little old-fashioned, but the rigor, the hard work that it's required to, now that you have metro, we used to travel in buses when we were in college, and our teachers would also throw us out if we were 1 minute late, and everything. So I still remember, and 1 or 2 teachers that I'm in touch with, I also have a little bit of resentment, which I keep telling them that, you threw me out of one class. I traveled all the way. Didn't even throw me out. He canceled the class. But remember, these were times when we didn't have mobile phones. Yes, dinosaur era. There are some people who belong to that. Yeah. So we didn't have phones. So couldn't inform that he's not taking a class, and that's all right because he had some work. But I traveled all the way. The bus had broken down and everything. Took about 3 hours to travel. When I reached there, he was just leaving and saying, oh, the class is cancelled. Do you think I was very happy hearing that? No. But just going back home and then, then again coming back. And so all that tests your patience, builds up your patience also. You require to be very patient in this exam, disciplined, of course, and everything. So okay, Tanya, this video will also be uploaded. Will it be uploaded?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be uploaded. Yeah. So it'll be uploaded, and although the videos that are given for the class and all, this will be uploaded on the YouTube. Yeah, and others are uploaded on the portal. But I strongly advise you to take it like a live class when you're doing online, and actually come here and sit here so that we can actually have a working relationship which can be mutually beneficial. Okay, normalization process. Very quickly, I'll tell you that. See, one expects. That is my thinking. You may differ, you may not agree. There may be another thing because there is no clarity from UPSC. Is there any clarity from UPSC? Would you be asking me this question if there was clarity? So you're only asking my perspective, no? My perspective can be different from yours, okay? So for example, right now I can see the clock on the wall, and if I explain it to you, I'll say it's white, it has black. That is my perspective. Somebody might say, no, but it's gray, I think, ma'am. Or perspective, right? So I'm telling you my perspective. I may be right or wrong. But I genuinely feel this is correct because the question was find the rank of a matrix. This matrix is given. Somebody just does R1 goes to R1 minus 2R2, something. Rank is equal to 4. The other person says find the rank. The question is same, find the rank of this matrix. He says we know rank is defined as the order of the highest, non-vanishing, minor, whatever. Let us use row transformations to find the rank because row transformations do not alter the rank. You're not probably understanding each sentence. That's okay. I'm just giving you a sample. Okay. And then you do the same thing. R1 goes to R1 minus 2R2. Same thing that you were doing here. And you say, hence, rank is calculated to be 4. Okay. Now, this is a 10-marker question. So sometimes when I ask you to do self-assessment assignments, when I say I'm sharing the solution set, now you check. You have to also give yourself marks. Now tell me you are the examiner. Can you imagine yourself to be the examiner? Remember real and imaginary that we were talking about? Can you imagine you have creativity? Imagine you are the examiner. Can you select everyone who's writing maths? You have to do an elimination process, no? So you can't, can you give same marks to both these? Answer is 4, answer is 4. There's not a computer checking your answer sheets. It's subjective. Maths is objective. But the checking has to be subjective. I expect this to be written. You can expect something else to be written. Okay, now you tell me you are the examiner. We'll go by the majority. Each one, think about yourself. Online students also, if you can raise your hands. about what you think. Do you think, first question, do you think both these people get 10 on 10? No. Okay, raise your hands if you think this guy gets 10 on 10 and this doesn't. See, if I just ask, does this guy get 10 on 10? You can ask. You can say, yes, ma'am, rank is 4. You can say that. But I've given you a perspective now. I've given you, this is also there with me, this is also there with me. You said they don't get the, am I right in assuming, do they get the same marks? No. Who gets higher, A or B? Right? Of course, if he does all this and rank comes out to be 3, which is a wrong answer, then there is a different checking mechanism that will happen. Right? But I'm not talking about that because everybody is super intelligent. Anyone who's given prelims this year, did you check the answer key? Everyone checks the answer key. So when you come back after giving the optional also, you will go back and check now this question, this answer, this question, this answer, wherever you can check. Theorems you can't check. You know, this is question number 2B part. This is question number 2B part. You go back home, check the answer key, which some institute has uploaded or I have uploaded or discussed or somebody else tells you. And you say 4. You have put yourself tick mark and you're saying, ab to isme I will get 10 on 10. No? Because correct answer matching. 2 minutes ago, what did you say? Does this guy get 10 on 10? How much do you think he get? Okay, this one, suppose I say, is picture perfect, like everything. He's written by lemma, proved below, by theorem stated below, and he stated the theorem also. You understanding? This is complete. This is how you'll understand in my class. If I just do something, you'll ask me, ma'am, how are you doing it? If I explain the how, you will not ask me how. You're explaining the examiner how. Suppose I say this is picture perfect, and this guy is getting a 10 on 10 according to me. How much do you think this guy is getting? 7, right? Right? That's the normalization that people have in their mind. 0.7, 0.8, 0.79, whatever calculations on Quora and YouTube. I've also seen them. It's funny because nobody knows. We can only guess. The people who've cleared the exam come back and share, this is the correct attempt, this is what I got. But they don't, when I do their checking, they get exactly what they got, okay? Because they do their own checking. A lot of my students, they'll say, oh, I've got 10 on 10 here also. Here also, I am to getting 400. But when I came out of the exam hall, I only got a 317. Of course, with 317, this person that I'm talking about has cleared the exam. But you can't give yourself 400 is what you have attempted, what you think you are getting. But the examiner is there to not distribute marks. He's going to find every opportunity to not written the lemma, cut mark, 1 mark. Not written the theorem, cut 1 mark. Not defined. Even though they didn't say defined rank. But rank, you know, important things like even in GS, you're taught this now, when you're reading the question, underline the important words, and your solution has to use the question now in some way. So normalization, I feel, is students not knowing how the checking process, evaluation process is done. And you will not come to know because you're never going to be anybody who plans to be a teacher here. Believe me when I say teaching is one thing, correction, evaluation is another headache. Like I can teach for 10 hours, but I can do correction only for 1 hour, 2 hours maximum. Can't do more than that. It's super, super, super tiring, difficult, because everyone has their own sense of writing. Then you have to figure out, you know, remember X, U, V, half my mind goes in even figuring out what the student has written. So you don't know how evaluation is done. You will never get to know how evaluation is done. But the examiner is not here to distribute marks. He's supposed to, oh, he's not written rank, he's not written the lemma, he's not written this, cut 2 marks. Cut 3 marks. He can also give you a 6. Here, in this question, you could have also got a 6 or anything from 6 to 10. If your answer is correct. If your answer is wrong, it's another ball game. You know, then step marking and all will come into picture. So according to me, nobody goes to the exam hall thinking, oh, I know normalization is 0.7, let me attempt for 440. You go to the exam hall trying to attempt as little or as much. That's always going to be the case, whether it's normalization or not, whether there is checking or not, whether there is, because you cannot have, according to me, you cannot have arbitrary normalization. You can't say, this guy is getting 410, let me deduct 100 marks. What is this logic? A maths person is, okay, why maths, you know that, right? At least it gives you the sense of the step-by-step thing and that logical ability. You have to know maths for that. It develops it like that. So I can't take anything which is irrational. And I feel normalization until unless someone really comes up, some authorized person comes up and says, yes, this is what is happening. Any hearsay is hearsay for me, so I don't go by that. I will try and tell you that 300 plus is very much possible. Attempt the paper as much as possible. Even if you leave 20, 30 marks, it is no problem. you end up leaving 20-30 marks, but everything else you've written very, very well, and then you're going to sail through. So some sample papers, my notes are like sample papers, okay? I will share model solutions for the tests that I take. A lot of times I share, all my booklets are model answers only. So they tell you how it has to be written. But you're like, oh, now I've understood, now I'll write like this. No, the way you understood is the way you write. And it is tedious, but you have to be meticulous. You have to give the best version of what you can do. And that's, I think, the normalization effect. The checking, the evaluation has a normalization effect, because when you expect you're getting a 20 on 20, you don't really get a 20 on 20 unless I can't find a single mistake in your answer. Everything is super perfect, I have to give you marks. But if I can find faults, this not written, that not written, where is this, where is that? If I can question you, I can cut marks. You've given me the liberty to cut marks like that. So don't give the liberty, you can get marks, okay? But it's very much possible, plausible, feasible to get 300 plus. With hard work, it will not fall into your lap, like I said before. Is that clear to all of you? So I hope to meet some of you, all of you, for the June batch. And once we begin the curriculum, anything else that you would want to ask me, I'll always be available for the doubts and everything. First day will be an orientation class. I will teach, but I'll also take up more detailed version of how the syllabus is going to flow, what are the expectations, how the booklets look like, how to utilize the booklets, optimize, don't read. Maths is maths supposed to be read or done? How to do from the booklets that are given to you. So we will be talking about all that in detail when we start with the classes, all right? Okay, guys, so the online students also, I hope to see some of you. Please attend live classes when you do join. Forgot methods. Yeah, see, when you forget methods, that's because there's not enough practice. So stress in the exam is a direct correlation to how much practice you've done. So hopefully with the classes, the confidence building happens, right? Can you scroll up? Is it the same question? Yeah. Pooja, have I answered your question? So if you practice regularly, the stress will come down, okay? Like, for example, no matter how stressed I am, I don't go wrong with a rank question, teaching it. I may have a headache sometimes, but I know how to teach rank question, with or without a headache. I would prefer without a headache. But sometimes when I'm not well, even then I don't go wrong with this, no? So in the exam also, the stress plays a role only when our preparation is not up to the mark. So that is in our control. We can do as much as possible to get confident, okay? All right, guys, it was lovely having the session with you. Thank you all for cooperating and listening intently. Hope to see some of you, all of you in the classes, okay? All right, thank you. Bye-bye.